2, 1. Hello, everyone. Look at this fine crew that I have with me tonight. Oh my, what did I do to deserve this joyfulness? Who knows? Yeah, I got Echo Darlington, Mackenzie Nordone. Welcome to the two of you. Mackenzie, you've been here before. Echo, brand new to the live stream. Echo, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody and tell them who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Echo Darlington. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. And I'm here at NOCD, helping everyone with their OCD and everything else that we treat here.
Fabulous. Hey, Mackenzie.
Hi. Dr. McGrath's forcing me to be here. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, under duress. Yeah.
No, I love it.
All right. Well, Jack gave a couple of things. It's kind of long, so I don't know that I'll read the whole thing, but I'm going to go to the last one. And Mackenzie, you've talked about your own personal struggles with OCD and what it was like to have to work on accepting. And Jack says, it feels impossible to accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm sure you felt like that at some point in time. Jack wonders what to do. How did you finally get to the point where it didn't matter what popped in your head anymore?
Yeah, I think, well, I always used to say, I can't drive. I can't do. Yeah. And so I think it's changed a lot to like, it was changing to I won't. Because, it is really manageable and treatable if we do the hard things. And I think also like that idea that, just because we have OCD, it doesn't define who we are as an individual. But there's a lot of acceptance that goes into it. I think the acceptance of having a mental health disorder, and then also that it's not curable, but it's extremely manageable and treatable. Also, whether we accept it or not, the thoughts are going to happen. So I always do. It's like, ERP therapy is hard and OCD is hard, but one has purpose and the other doesn't. But I think we said this in a webinar last time, like that scene from Mean Girls where she's like, get in, loser, we're going shopping. That's how I like talk to my OCD. Like, get in, you can come with me, but we're going to keep going. And the non-engagement responses really helped me a lot too.
It's got to be one of the most difficult things to do, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, especially when the stakes are super, super high. So I always like my driving OCD. I named the potholes that I hit. I'm naming them Pothole Pete and Pothole Patty. So those are my. Yeah. So when I like hit Pothole Pete and Pothole Patty, like my brain's like, you can't keep driving. That's so, irresponsible. I can't believe you would accept that fate. And I'm like, well, here we are. So it's hard.
So long, Pothole Patty. So, Echo, what do you work on with people when they're dealing with these types of things?
Well, just really fitting in, similar to what Mackenzie's sharing, right? Sitting in that discomfort and the uncertainty, letting those non-engagement statements or the response prevention messages really help them sit in that discomfort, sit in hitting those potholes. Maybe they're people sitting in whatever those intrusive thoughts are. And just, it doesn't feel good. It's not fun. It's not their favorite thing to do. And in session, they're really struggling. They're having anxiety. And we want you to know that you're going to have anxiety, whether you have anxiety, whether you have OCD, you're going to feel your feelings, and your feelings are valid. It's okay to feel that way, but we want to help you understand how you can challenge and sit with it and know that it's not hurting you and that it's okay. And eventually you're going to get through it.
I've modified what you said slightly, Echo. I don't say sit with it anymore. I say live with it.
Okay. That's a good one.
Because I don't want people to really think that they have to sit, right? Because it is your entire life that you will live with OCD. So I've been trying to shift I used to say sit with, and now I've been trying to kind of shift that to how do I just live with this? Jack, says he's frustrated. He's tried ERP, all these things. He says nothing works. These thoughts won't go away. Jack, the more that you want them to go away, the more they're going to stick around, just so you know. So I would not at all expect them to go away, Jack, if your goal is for them to go away.
Right. I also think like an aha moment for me was the idea that the obsession, like the thought isn't the problem, it's our reaction to them. And when we react and try to get them to go away, they just scream louder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the hard part. I mean, and then depending on the subtype, it's not uncommon for people to say to me, why does it have to be this one? Why can't it be any other one but this one? Why does it have to be this image? Why does it have to be this urge? Why can't it be any of the other ones? And of course, OCD is only going to pick on things that are important to you. Now, I've never met a person with OCD about something they didn't care about.
Exactly.
Yeah. I always say too, like, it's that moment of like, this one thing is, is going to kill me for like 2 weeks straight. And then a new theme pops up and my brain's like, never mind. I'll take the other one back. The one that I was so afraid of, I'll take that one. I don't want this one anymore. It's like whatever you're experiencing in the moment is going to feel the scariest and the loudest.
Yeah.
So I always talk about, with my members, I always do the OCD as a bully metaphor. And I really have them picture it. OCD is a bully. It's constantly sitting there with you. It's listening to you. It's watching what you do. It's listening to what you say. And I even talk about it being behind the door. When people start getting better, it's like, okay, the OCD is behind the door, but the door is still cracked. It's still ajar. And depending on how you're reacting to those intrusive thoughts and the compulsions that you're doing, that door is opening or closing more. And I really help them picture it. I like to be creative and imaginal in a way of like, okay, what does your bully look like? What's a name? Just like you named your potholes. They'll get a classic name of Karen, right? Karen's a great bully name. So they'll talk back to Karen. They'll picture it behind that door. And I really like using the OCD bully in the door when I'm working with my members.
Wonderful. We wish we had the recipe to make thoughts, images, and urges go away. Not that we haven't tried, right? And not that people with OCD, since the dawn of time and their first OCD experiences came about, people have been trying to make thoughts go away, images go away, urges go away. We still haven't met someone who's been successful at it. But we know lots of people who know how to live with them and say, all right, whatever. I'll bring that along with me. Mm-hmm.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Get in, loser. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Lots of shrugging. I do this all day long with my members. Well, maybe not. We cannot know for sure. Lots of shrugging.
Yeah. So we're here with the two of you because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I always, it's always a great time just to help bring to the forefront a few things. The continuing decreasing stigma, hopefully, of mental health concerns. B, the celebration of the fact that there are treatments available to help people live with mental health issues, not be ruled by mental health issues. And to be able to highlight people who have dedicated their lives through schooling or through their own advocacy, who want to make sure that they can be a model for what it's like to either live with or to help people who have mental health concerns. So thank you both for being here for that.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. James says, I told my friend a secret. I have a compulsion to keep asking if he will not tell anyone. He says he won't. What's good ERP? Well, of course, James, your friend's a liar. And though he could tell you he won't do it thousands of times, right? That's what your OCD is going to say. Your OCD is always going to say, yes, but James, did your friend really mean it? That I noticed when they said they wouldn't tell, maybe there was a slight wink. Maybe their finger was kind of crossed. Maybe their toes were crossed in their shoes and you didn't see it. So how can you know for sure? Other than your friend must stand in their underwear in front of you with all of their digits spread out wide to show that they are not crossing anything, and their eyes must be wide open for no winking, and they must pledge on several religious texts and the Constitution and any other thing we can think of that they...
DSM-5.
Yeah, they are not the DSM-5. Yes, I put. Yeah, Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah, we just took the DSO. I pledge that I will not be. On this. Yeah, exactly. Boy, James, the thing you want is the thing OCD won't allow you to have. Right. Remember, OCD's nickname is the doubting disorder, and therefore, you want 100% assurance, James, that somebody won't tell a secret. Never going to achieve that.
So you live with it.
There you go. Yes, see? Ah, look at it. Yeah. You don't sit with it. You live with it, right?
Sure
You
do.
live with it. Mm-hmm.
Also, it's so funny to me too, like how OCD works. The reality is, no matter how many times we ask someone, we still don't know any more than we did before, right? But OCD convinces us if we keep asking, we're going to find this answer or this piece. I'm always like, I've never gotten to the end, and OCD's like, yeah, okay, we got the answer. Well, I'm never going to bother you again. Bye. No.
But are you sure it was the right answer? How can you be sure? And so many other things.
And I'm convinced that if you ever did get an answer for OCD, it would go, awesome. Now round 2. And it would just bring on the next level, right? And there's an infinite number of levels until you get to the boss that's undefeatable. So, it's
Yes.
turtles all the way down kind of thing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good turtle.
Do you like bringing that in? That little, thank you. I
like
practiced that. Brock 101 says, I'm scared I might be a danger to kids now. I keep seeing, lubrication when talking to teens. First of all, I don't think you're seeing it necessarily, because that would mean you probably don't have clothes on while you're talking to teens. So I'm going to go with you probably feel some things. You don't. It doesn't happen all the time. It's not every day, but it worries you, and of course it's going to worry you. It's going to terrify you, right? Because, again, remember, the more you don't want this to happen, guess what you're going to be looking for. Now, Mackenzie,
Yes.
I'm going to bet you believe things with zero proof whatsoever.
OCD wise?
Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So even if there was not an ounce, a smithereen, a smidge, a skosh of evidence for anything, you would have said, yeah, but I think I see it. I think I feel it. I think I smelt it. I think I whatever it, right? Mm-hmm.
I may have dealt it.
Well, if you smelt it, you dealt it. I mean, let's just remember that. Whoever smelt it, dealt it. That is for sure.
Yeah, well, like my OCD has a PhD in infectious disease.
Of course, yes.
I'm really going to type up a resume for my OCD, because it knows everything. So yeah, without a just it tries to pull validity and certainty from everything, without me having any idea what it actually is, what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Except for I have, my invisible list of PhDs.
Right. I think about, people will talk about the groinal response, and boy, the moment you're hoping not to have a groinal response, you're going to feel a tingle, right? It doesn't have to be a full on anything. All that has to be is, wait a minute, something might have tingled there. There's a chance there was a tingle, and that's enough for someone to be like, wow, I am a dangerous individual, aren't I? Because I'm not supposed to have a tingle. Those are bad. Tingles are bad, okay? Yeah, just no tingles whatsoever. Right?
So then the more tingles you get.
Yeah, exactly. Mackenzie.
It goes with everything, right? Like I wake up and I turn on a TV show and somebody's dying of a brain tumor, and all of a sudden my brain's like, oh God, I have a headache.
Yeah. Echo. We lost Echo. Oh no. Oh, what happened? I'm sure she'll come back. Echo. Echo's internet just died, it appears.
Not enough of us.
Yeah, it's like, screw these two. I don't even like them anymore.
And their tingles.
And yes, no more tingle talks. Yeah. So, yeah, I bet. I mean, brain tumor, whatever it might be, and boom, you're going to be, oh, Echo has returned. Oh, what happened, Echo? We lost.
I don't know. It said internet issues and it kicked me out, but I'm back. Can't get rid of me that easy.
Yeah, no. We tried. We sent this fake message about internet issues, but you're back.
Cue the magical thinking.
There we go. I like this one. Truth Exists, says Dr. Patrick and guests. If the brain considered someone as contaminated because of some actions they did, how is it possible to convince the brain otherwise? Thank you so much. There you go. Mm-hmm. Right. There. So, okay, great. They're contaminated. All right. And
then what?
And then we live with that. Right? Yeah. And we live with that. It is what it is, right?
Emotional contamination's a doozy.
Yeah. I've worked with people who are afraid of germs around death, right? You know, like emotional contamination around death, like Mackenzie Nordone, potentially. Yeah. And then I have a cousin who owns a mortuary, and I hug her when I see her. So she has touched dead bodies, right? And am I now contaminated by her? Because yep, okay. Mackenzie says totally. Mackenzie's like, I am never going near you ever again, right? Or
I do have a funny story about that though.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We were playing Uno. This was years ago, and this girl, she had come over. She wasn't. We were adults, but she came over and we're playing Uno, and all of a sudden she tells us like that she works at a funeral home and that she had been putting makeup on
Bodies.
Yeah, bodies. And it was my turn to draw a card, but she had just touched the pile, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to play anymore. No thanks.
Wow. Yeah.
Therapy though.
Right. Now you would be like, let's lick that Uno card. All right, let's do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wiping it on you.
Yep. Exactly.
I always tell everyone too, I have a pair of shoes that my OCD dubbed death shoes because I wore them to 2 funerals. So then for the longest time before ERP therapy, I was like, if I wear these shoes, someone's going to die, obviously. Right. Mm-hmm. So I wear them all the time now. Then they're my death shoes. So
well, it sounds like they're your everyday shoes.
Yeah. Right.
Your everyday death shoes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. It's amazing how we can hold on to those links, right? And just believe them to be absolute and true and real. And yet we have no proof of it being that way whatsoever. Because I look at it this way. There's enough funeral homes in the world, and enough people who work at them have interacted with other people who have then interacted with other people who have then interacted with other people, that there probably isn't a person in the world that hasn't touched someone who hasn't touched someone who hasn't touched a dead body. Right.
For that unplanned exposure.
Right. So is there anyone in the world that is free of death germs?
No. I also used to think when you walked in a cemetery, my OCD would like every disease that someone died from, like I was gonna, siphon. Yeah. Yes. And
they hover above the grave, the diseases. They just
smallpox, cancer,
Ebola. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All the things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah, isn't it? We chuckle a little bit, but isn't it fascinating? And I love what you said, Mackenzie, this idea of your OCD has a PhD in medical science, right? From the worst school ever, by the way. But, and the things that it believes as truth are fascinating.
It is. And it also always blows my mind because I feel like OCD tries so hard to convince us that we're like alone and no one's ever thought the same way. It's really not as creative as we think it is, because I say these random things in group, right? Like hitting pothole Pete and pothole Patty, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I do that too. I thought I was the only one that did that. Or I thought I was the only one that, when COVID started, my brain literally tried to convince me I would get COVID from drinking a Corona beer, like, because coronavirus,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
just off the wall, crazy stuff, wild stuff that make it so scary in the moment. It is. And I think humor is a way to take your power back, which is why I've always been like I gotta laugh at it. I can't, but that's not to take away from how scary it was in the thick of it, for sure.
100%.
Yeah. I use humor in I'm just back in my day, right? Talking about mental health awareness. I've struggled with depression and anxiety my whole life. I came from a very dysfunctional family, lots of family childhood trauma, hence why I'm a therapist now, right? To some degree, I came into the field to try to fix myself. That doesn't work that way. But now I have all my experiences to help others. But I relied heavily on humor throughout my whole life, hiding behind it most of the time. But now I'm doing much better. Treatment works, and I love helping others, but I'm huge on humor, and that's on my NOCD profile. And I've had a few people come to me that say, that's what made you stand out. And I love that. But I do laugh a lot in sessions, and I like to upfront say, hey, you're going to see me laughing a lot. I'm going to be cracking jokes. We're going to be laughing about OCD at some point together. But I always like to let them know ahead of time, because I have had a couple moments where people are like, oh, they take my laughing in the wrong way, and I have to explain it to them, and we walk through it. But humor is such an amazing tool to use for anything and everything, but also OCD, right? Because Mackenzie, I'm sure you've been through this. When you say some of your strongest fears out loud, they sound ridiculous. Not all of them, of course, but some of them can sound so just ridiculous when you're saying them out loud. And then when you start to bring humor to it, you can be like, yeah, okay, this can be funny. And that's how you can really work hard to see it in a different light, live with it, like Dr. McGrath says, and just really use the humor in all different ways. So I'm a huge advocate for that. Laugh as much as you can, and it can really be helpful to see it differently.
Agree. I love humor.
Not noise.
I like humor too, Dr. McGrath.
Me? No, I'm a very serious person. I don't
so serious.
Use any humor. Never used any in my life. Cameron says, how do I deal with real memory OCD, things that happen in childhood that make me feel like I'm a horrible person? I wonder if there's anyone in the world who could look back at their childhood and think, I was a saint the entire time and never did anything bad. I was the best child ever. Yeah.
No, I can't.
Now, Cameron uses one of my favorite phrases that make me feel like I'm a horrible person, right? There's a difference, I would say, between I'm a horrible person and I feel like I'm a horrible person. And what couldn't we justify with the phrase, but I feel like, right? I could say to both of you, I feel like my skin is green. And no matter what the two of you say to me, I could say, yeah, but it feels like it is. And therefore, I have some justification. Why? Because it feels like it. So as long as it feels like it, what argument do I have against it, right? And this is one of the tricks that I see OCD uses that will say, I don't have any proof, but boy, it feels like it.
Yes.
Right? And then isn't that enough? I mean, isn't that enough? Just because it feels like it? That seems to me enough. I think it's time to worry now because it feels like it. Yeah, I think this is pretty concerning. And boom, we're just stuck there. Right?
That's how it grabs you. Mm-hmm. Especially with the health-related OCD, right? I feel like I felt something in my chest. I'm going to have a heart attack. That means I'm dying. Yeah. That means something bad's happening. And who's to say they're not feeling something? We don't know. How can we justify what they are not feeling? And what does that actually mean?
And isn't it funny how OCD just like conveniently jumps over like working ourselves up into a panic. Like, yes, my heart's racing. No, I'm not dying of a heart attack. I've been ruminating and freaking myself out for the past 30 minutes, but no, that's not it. I have 24 hours to live.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well, we were really hoping that we would get you an answer to convince you that you really are a horrible person, but we haven't been able to find one. Why? Because, well, all of us could probably throw our hats in the ring for horrible children for something that we did. Right?
Sometimes my mom watches the webinar. She could tell you in the chat, maybe. That was
Hi,
Come
Mom
on,
of
Mom,
Mackenzie.
give us some stuff.
Yeah. Tell us what a horrible daughter you have. Yeah. Aaron asks, how can I not allow my feelings to take over when it comes to relationships?
Mm.
Well, that's a loaded question, because you would hope to have feelings in relationships, but now you're deciding there are good feelings to have and not good feelings to have. And so how do I only have the feelings that I want and not the feelings that I don't want? And the moment we lead into, I hope I don't have these feelings, we're probably going to have those feelings, because it's the, don't think of a pink elephant, which always means what, everyone? The pink elephant! Whoa, there it is. Yeah. And
You would have a pink elephant.
of course I have a pink elephant sitting on my desk at all times. Why wouldn't I? Come on. I mean, please.
I love that.
I don't know why I'm surprised. I really don't.
Do you not know me? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think feelings, you have to like, what kind, what we have to have feelings. We can't get rid of feelings. You could feel like you don't have feelings, I guess. Right, Dr. McGrath?
You could try to, right? But but
That one's tough.
well, yeah, because now what I'm saying is I only want certain feelings, which means that I'm going to have all these other feelings that I don't want because I'm trying not to have them. And then how do I not let that take over? Well, it's hard. I don't know that that's possible, right? I don't know that it's possible to not have feelings you don't want to have not take over if you spend all your time hoping not to have them.
Right.
They already took over. You just missed it.
There you go. Yeah. Right. I mean, the moment you didn't want them to take over, they took over. Which is why we always talk about welcoming whatever the thoughts or the images or the urges are and giving them space to be. But just because they have space to be doesn't mean that they're in charge.
Right. Letting them in the room.
Yeah.
But not addressing them.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also that idea of like a thought pops into your head because we're humans. Like, oh, that person's attractive. Oh my gosh, you're a cheater. What? No, I thought a person was attractive. I have the ability to act on something. That the thought, again, like their thought.
OCD says you need to go straight home and break up with this person. You're a bad person. How dare you do that? You better close your eyes when you're walking around. You can't look at anybody else. Just spiral.
Be damned. You just close your eyes and walk everywhere.
Right. And then have a lot of bruises. But otherwise, that's okay. It's better to be bruised than it is to find another person attractive, I suppose. If
How
that's
dare you?
Yeah.
And then the confessing piece to that, right? Okay, you found someone attractive. You go home. You tell your partner, hey, I was walking to the park and I saw someone and they were attractive. What does that do? That could
pisses off your partner.
Yeah. Of course, we're going to, in the scenario, we're going to say they don't understand OCD. They're going to say, why are you telling me this? What does this mean? What comes from this?
Or
you have more thoughts going.
Once the partner understands it, why are you confessing this to me again? Why are you using me for compulsions? We've already discussed this. I don't care. Why do you keep bringing this up? And then the person with the relationship host is like, oh no, now my partner's angry at me because I brought this up. Oh gosh, now I really got to test our relationship to see if everything's okay because now I've angered my partner. Mm-hmm. Well, what angered your partner in the beginning? Doing what OCD wanted me to do because I was afraid that if I didn't, it might mean my relationship might break up.
It always cracks me up because the compulsions create way more issues than were there to begin with. Like when I used to wash my hands till they cracked and bled, and then I multiple times ended up at the doctor for an antibiotic. Like I didn't have anything wrong with my hands before I started washing them. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a miracle, isn't it? Your hands with the protective layers of oils on them were sufficiently fine to be able to help you survive. And the moment OCD said, I got a better solution for you, they got all jazzed up.
Well, yeah. And I tell you all the time, inherently, I'm a horrible driver. Since I moved to New England, I get flipped off. I get flipped off on a daily basis. Like I'm a bad driver. So my OCD is like, well, of course you hit someone. You suck at driving. So then I'm trying to turn around and back and like turn around, look at all. I'm going to end up in an accident because I'm trying to turn around to look for pothole Pete. Versus
turn around, pothole Pete is laying in the middle of the street and he's bleeding out his face. Turn around.
Another person flipped me off.
Another person flipped me off, and now they're gonna report me to the police. Then I'll be arrested.
A stand-up comedy show. No, but I 4 years ago, there were many a times where I called the police, dialed the number, and was like, "No, can't do it." But hey, like, if any hit and runs are reported, just keep me in mind.
Yeah, just here's my address. Just come find me. Check me out and see.
I'll be here.
By the way, their name might be Pete or Patty.
Or Patty, and they're in the shape of a circle.
Yes, just so you know, they're shaped like a pothole, but they are a person.
Some potholes.
Yes. If the two of you found any things in there that you wanted to bring up, I'm happy to jump around. But yeah,
let me look around.
Yeah, feel free. I don't want to check around, check up, and check down. Check. No, don't check because that'd be OCD. We don't want that.
Somebody said about liking Facebook posts, like there's nothing. This one still is one that tries to like get me. Like, there's nothing worse than when like Patty, I'm just gonna go with my names. Like Patty's like, oh, my grandma just passed away, and I try to like, I want to hit the like love or like the prayer sign, and I'm afraid I'm gonna hit the like laughing hysterically, like, and then I have to go. My brain wants me to go back and check and look because how dare I laugh at someone instead of heart it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Right, it says Allison.
What time is it at? Just so I know, I can pull it up.
8:19 p.m.
Thank you,
Allison at 8:19 p.m. So yeah, it says she wants to like post about Memorial Day, about someone who died, but her brain tells her that if she likes it, her mom will die. Makes sense. I'm assuming she hasn't liked it yet because OCD says, "Oh, I'm standing above your mom right now. Like it. I'm coming right now.
Now I know why my wife died. Oh, there we go. That's what it was.
Because you like that post.
I liked a post.
So Allison, guess what we need to do? We need to like that post, and we need to live with that uncertainty.
Remember the chain emails? We talked about the chain emails. It was like sending to 10 people your die. I was sending it to 12 just to be sure.
Just in case. Yeah. Those were the best. I used to just purposely not reply to them and like, bring it on. Let's go. Right. Come on.
People are trying to do that on TikTok now. It's like, use this sound or you'll die. And I'm like, huh?
Oh, really? Oh.
Or if you found this video, it's your sign. Okay. No, it's
call an algorithm.
Exactly. It's just yes. Okay. Yeah, magical thinking. Dr. McGrath, I use your example. I don't know where I heard it or who said it because I don't feel like you said it personally to me. But do you still carry that thing in your wallet?
Yeah, the card that says, I hope my parents die tonight, please God, and has a 666 on it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's been in there for almost 19 years now. Yeah.
I bring 19 years. Oh my gosh. I bring that up in session all the time with magical thinking. And I'll have people write things down. I hope I get into a car accident. All the magical thinking thoughts we challenge.
This was one of my wait, I didn't know about that card. I'm sad. I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah. I was working with someone who was afraid that if they had a negative thought about their parents and they didn't say a prayer right afterwards, it would kill their parents by the end of the day. So we started our hierarchy, and when we got up to the end of the hierarchy and the last thing, which was we were going to think something negative about each of our sets of parents, and we weren't going to say a prayer afterwards. And we did it. They came back the next day. No parents were dead. I said, I always like to push the envelope a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do.
You never.
I know it's shocking. I know you're surprised by this. But so then I wrote down on a card, I hope my parents died tonight, please God, and then put a 666 on it. They were Christian, so I put that on there. And I've carried it in my wallet now for almost 20 years. And my parents are still alive. Now, that card will be right twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It will be right twice.
in the like in an obituary, it needs to say like
Yes.
from a card.
From sons wishing of their death 20 years ago. That's the only reason why these two died. Otherwise, these were going to be the first immortal people, but then their ass of a son wished for them to die and took their immortality away. Yes. Yeah. That's how.
Horrible human.
Yes.
This was one of my first exposures that I did with NOCD. This was like 5 years ago. And I had to draw a picture of my tombstone. This literally, my 7-year-old could draw that picture.
Yeah. Yeah. You're terrible.
Scared the bejeebus out of me because I thought if I drew a tombstone.
Wow. I love it.
I was going to die. He has eyes and hands too.
Yeah. Okay. The dancing tombstone. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So now if you were to do your tombstone, do you think you'd do a little bit more than just Here Lies Mackenzie? Do we think we would have crafted it up a little bit more?
Yeah, maybe a couple of other things.
Spouse. Yeah. Personalize it.
Murderer. Terrorist.
Hit and run.
Yeah. Killer of Peppermint or Pothole Patty and Pete. You know.
I just want to call them Mr. and Mrs.
Mr. and Mrs. Pothole. Yeah.
When you die, you should just have a fund already set up to put 2 mock tombstones next to you that say Pete and Patty, because you've been running them over all left and right.
I'm getting Halloween decoration ideas right now.
Yeah. There you go.
Or when you die, we could just go fill potholes in memory of you. Yeah. And
it can just be like a group activity to fill.
Yeah, we'll put an R.I.P. MN on the filled pothole.
Yeah.
Here lies Pothole Pete in memory of Mackenzie Nordone.
I can't.
That would be great, right?
That'd be a lot of potholes.
It's a lot of potholes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kylie says, my contamination OCD has been bad. My brother sprayed weed killer in the yard. Were you by my yard? Because, man, I was murdering some weeds this last week. Let me tell you. I mean, I was the death to weeds this week. Sprayed some weed killing yard, and you let your dogs out. You let the dogs out with the weeds. You let the and you've cleaned the house and used the carpet scrubber on the carpet, but you're afraid it will hurt them.
What about the
carpet's got to look nice? That's hard work.
The carpet looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like my OCD's bread and butter.
Go for it. So tell us all about it.
Well, I have a fruit salad of themes. I tell you that, but contamination OCD is my ride or die. Literally.
All right.
I think we laugh. I try again going back to like finding humor. Like when COVID happened, like there was a time where I was like spraying Lysol on my feet, like my body. And my husband always jokes with me now. He's like, there's going to be a commercial that comes on like 5 years from now. That's like, if you use Lysol or Purell, like you're entitled to compensation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just OCD is going to go and run with it. And the weed killer stuff can totally relate to, because there was like a Roundup lawsuit or something. It was giving everyone cancer. And it's hard. It's hard. And then the spiral coming out from like the dog, like there would have been a time where my OCD was like, get rid of the dog. You can't live like that. There's always going to be something else going.
Right. Or even rip up the carpet, right? Again, I joked about how hard it is to clean carpet, but you could rip up the carpet and just have tile or wood, which might be easier to clean. That would be a very over-the-top compulsion that we don't want you to have. We're going to, again, live with that intrusive thought, the weed killer, and with the dogs being out in the yard.
Yeah. And if you walk your dog, how do you know if every lawn your dog walks on has or has not had weed killer put on it.
Yep. And then they're on your carpet and on your couch and on your
In your bed.
Mm-hmm.
This one used to get me because like walking the dog through the parking lot, and then I was like, oh, the tires go over like roadkill, and now rabies is in my house, and everyone's
There
gonna
you
die. Ah.
Yeah. It's amazing the human species is still alive with all the ways we could be killed. I can't believe we're still here, actually.
If I had $1 for everything that was going to take me out,
You would be so rich, it would be ridiculous. Yeah.
give Taylor Swift a run for her money.
Yeah. The OCD tour. So the Eras tour.
You could do that. I could do a fruit salad tour, like off the tour through my themes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fruit salad just reminds me of the Wiggles.
Oh my gosh, I said that in group the other day, and I was like, and that's its own kind of creepy. But all I think about is the fruit salad, yummy, yummy song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's myself.
You're way too old for that, Dr. McGrath. You don't know anything about the fruit salad.
No, I heard it once, but my niece and nephew were listening to it, and I was glad I was old. Didn't have to listen to it more than once.
Your ears bleed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll stick with Sesame Street, The Electric Company, Zoom, and Mr. Rogers. Those were some of you may remember the Great Space Coaster and 3-2-1 Contact were also pretty awesome as well. And if you're young, you're like, what words is this man saying right now? I have no idea what he just was talking about. But
32 was hitting me hard for a minute, but I'm good now.
yeah.
I don't know this.
Wait till you're over 50 and then you'll see what happens. Uh-huh.
If you even get there, we cannot know for sure.
If you get there. Yeah, you may not, right? You may not. Someone said, yes, the card will kill me. Yeah.
Sorry.
Did someone see the articles about genetics and OCD? I have not seen the articles about genetics and OCD, but we can always take a look. There's always new things coming out all the time, so who knows? Yeah, one never knows. Let's see what else we got. Oh, people are also one of my favorite ones. What if I did something but forgot I did something and then, was somehow paid for having done it, and now I have the money for it, but I don't know why I have it and that I did it, and things of that nature, right? Just this is another good one. This memory OCD experience where what if I did this thing, but I don't know that I did this thing, and how can I ever know that I did it? And I have to know if I did or didn't do it. But of course, how could we convince you of something that you don't remember that you did or did not do?
Yep. And I feel like the one that comes up a lot with this is the what if I cheated on my partner and I don't remember?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I feel like whenever I'm answering comments for NOCD social media, that's like the one that's also always really stigmatized too, because it's like, oh, you just don't need to be in a relationship. Like clearly you have no idea what anyone's talking about. But that's one that comes up a lot, like that idea of what if I cheated and don't remember?
Mm-hmm.
Been there, had that one.
Had that one?
That's in my salad. Yeah.
That's in the salad. I did hear a fun thing about fruit salad. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit.
Because it has seeds.
Right. Wisdom is knowing that it doesn't go in a fruit salad.
I like that.
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that one. It's pretty fun. What's the difference between wisdom and smart?
Are you writing that one down for later to remember that?
Is that going on? Are you writing that next to the thing?
There you go. Yeah, put that on your tombstone. Uh-huh. Oh, Reggie just says on the Great Space Coaster, all aboard. There you go. Thank you. This is another fellow old person who knows what the Great
There you
Space
go, Reggie. I'm glad Dr. McGrath has some backup there.
Thank goodness. We were letting down.
I wasn't just making that up. Yeah.
He's
When I
losing it.
travel by myself, I get bombarded with thoughts about going deaf and blind at the same time. The anxiety is paralyzing while I try to plan what I need to do to get to safety. It's horrible.
Oh,
Wow, that is specific.
Mm-hmm.
but only when you travel by yourself. Is that
My OCD was always louder when I was by myself.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because you don't have anyone else to drown out the noise, you know, like when you're around other people, you're distracting yourself.
Well, and going deaf and blind, you would kind of assume that someone needs to help, right? If that snap of the button happens and guess what? Now you're deaf and blind. Being by yourself would be harder to understand what's going on in that moment.
That would be really traumatizing.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound fun. No.
But even if you went deaf and blind at the same exact time around somebody, how would they necessarily even know what was going on? Right? You really think about that one.
I think if I did, I would just start yelling for police. All right. And then when they came, I would give them my wallet and they could find my driver's license. And then
they would arrest you.
Maybe arrest me, but eventually figure out, oh, wow, look, this person has suddenly gone blind and deaf. Let's get them to a hospital and let's get on their phone and find their emergency contact. Oh, there we go. Okay, great.
So, they're not dead, because if their emergency contacts their parents, that's not a good look.
Then they're dead because I wrote it on the card.
I know that Dr. McGrath killed his parents with his card.
With my card. That's the day I'll go deaf and when I go deaf and blind at the same time, my parents will also be dead at the same time as well too. It'll be a threesome.
And you'll go to prison for the craziest.
Mimi talks about trichotillomania for 40 plus years. Yes, that is not a fun one. And there is great treatment though for it, which is awesome. We have something called habit reversal training where we can do excellent work. By the way, that is something that NOCD does. So if anybody, I should put a plug in for NOCD since that's what we do here. Yeah. If you're looking for help for OCD or related conditions, check us out at NOCD.com. That's NOCD.com, where we do work with body-focused repetitive behaviors like trichotillomania, which is hair pulling, or excoriation, which is skin picking. We do work with hoarding. We do work with tics, obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety disorders, mood concerns, trauma. We treat all of those things. So if you're looking for help in any of those areas, check us out at NOCD.com. That's NOCD.com. We also do one of my favorite things, our NOCD 411 sessions. If you want to talk to somebody who knows all about these things and just have an hour with them to bounce some ideas off, kind of like what we do here, but more one-on-one-ish, you can do a NOCD 411 session as well. So we would be more than happy to work with you. And Jane says you get anxious and you pick your cuticles. Yeah, people will pull hair, pick at skin, pick at cuticles, things of that nature. And
bite their cheeks, lips.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Nails.
Mm-hmm. We work on that too, Jane. We can help you out.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
OCD does a fruit salad of things.
Yes. Fruit salad upset. There we go.
That's the takeaway from tonight. Fruit salad.
Yeah. Dr. McGrath, do you see that? The one at 847 about OCD always trying to make decisions for you.
Oh, there we go.
This is one of my favorite things about recovery.
How do you deal with OCD always trying to make decisions for you? Like the decision it tries to make is like mundane task, but it's super annoying. I want to make decisions on my terms, not on OCD terms. Go ahead. Take it away.
So there's like this example, right? When partners fight over like where we should go to dinner. And I would never want to pick, but it wasn't because I just didn't want to pick a bad place. Like what if, we got in a car accident on the way and then that would be my fault.
Your fault.
Somebody got, food poisoning, my fault. Like I want that shit on someone else. Someone else make the decision. I don't want that.
Right.
No, but I think one of the coolest things about recovery is being able to it's learning to put your value over fear. And there's something really, really cool about, being able to make decisions as little as they sound, like where to go to dinner or what to wear or, to drive to the store or not, because they all seem so life or death when OCD is so loud. There's really something cool about being able to.
Yeah. I just blame Mackenzie's children for everything in my life. So it's great. I have no responsibility whatsoever. It's just always her kid's fault. Anything. So,
It is.
And if she has a dog, even more fault.
Oh, even more fault. Always blame the dog. Yeah. Yeah.
Dog. Rory.
And it's always the dog's fault.
Always.
Mm-hmm. Other people talk about, yes, pulling eyebrows. Yeah, there's so many ways that trichotillomania can happen, right?
Yes.
Oh, now we've lost. Well, now Mackenzie has just left us out of the blue. And
It's not just me.
Boy, the gods of the internet are canceling us left and right. What is happening tonight?
Cancel culture.
It is just cancel culture going on
Yes,
here
it
tonight.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, jinxed me.
Yeah. We sure did. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so the things were funny.
Yeah. Does having a feeling I could have engaged in a taboo fantasy as a kid fall into false memory OCD? Sounds pretty good to me. Seems right in line there. Remember, having a feeling. I love the qualifications on here. If I could just say, well, I'm going to pull it up here. Windflower. Just check this out. Does having a feeling I could have engaged in something, right? It's like I'm fixing to get ready to do something. I'm not going to do it. I'm fixing to get ready to do it. So which means I'm not even ready to do it. I'm going to get ready to do it. Right. So does having a feeling I could have, right? So I don't even know that I did or didn't, but I have this feeling that it might have occurred. Right. Wow. Look at those qualifiers that OCD just loves and runs with then, and is going to just be like, well, that's good enough for me. I don't know about you. So, if I have a feeling that, I've said some terrible things to my lovely guests tonight, and that they will be reporting me to NOCD HR by the end of the show, I could go back and watch this to look for evidence. I won't find any, but then I'll keep watching it anyway, because what if I missed it and it is there and I just didn't notice it? Or maybe somebody tried to edit it out because they like me and they've got my back, but they're still these two are still going to go to the HR department and throw me under the bus, because they will say that I did something, and though we'll go to the tape and now there won't be a thing on the tape because it's edited. Maybe they'll send it to the FBI and they'll discover that, yes, the tape was altered in some way. And if that were the case, now I've got to get a lawyer, just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, because OCD also says the CIA and the FBI are always around and always watching.
There you go.
Oh, remember Dr. McGrath, I told you when I used to Google like hit and runs in the area, and then I Googled driving OCD in case the FBI needed to take my phone and they could see like, oh no, wait, she actually has, then I'm just free off the hook.
Yeah, that gets you off the hook right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, OCD and death. So fun. Yeah. That's my core fear.
Liv B says, I've been trying to do exposures around making mistakes on purpose, and it's actually kind of fun to feel free in that way. Wonderful, Liv. Yes. Good job. Yes. And remember, those are the exposures and the response prevention. The key component of all of that is not going back and undoing that, right? Just allowing those mistakes to make there. We don't just do exposures. We always want to have that response prevention component in the mix. Otherwise, we wouldn't really need to do therapy, because people with OCD are always being exposed to things. So if just being exposed to things worked, people with OCD would be feeling better than anybody else we'd ever met in our lives, right? Because they're always being exposed to stuff. So it's more than just exposures.
I had a reminder of that. Sorry, Echo.
No, you're good.
A reminder of that this morning, because my oldest is 7. She's going through ERP therapy with NOCD right now. But one of her exposures was to leave Legos on the ground. So because she's afraid Rory, the dog, will chew them and die, I guess. I think that's probably where that goes. So she was really nervous. She did it. We got in the car and she's like, Mom, I feel better. And I was like, oh, that was fast. What happened? She goes, oh, I just made sure. I prayed to God that Rory wouldn't chew the Legos. I was like, no, no.
Now we have to undo the prayer, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. You can, if you give into compulsions, you can always take it back. I always say you can throw in, or maybe not, right? If you immediately go, oh, I pray to God, so I'm okay. Or maybe I'm not, right? You can always take back your compulsion, no matter what it is, whether it's a mental or physical. You can go and retouch something if you just washed your hands. You can take back that certainty statement. You're always able to catch and take it back. And that's
a good undo, right? Mm-hmm. Love a good undo there.
A good pivot. Mm-hmm. Pivot, friends.
Pivot. Yeah. All right. Let me see if there are any other fun things out there.
So many fun things.
So
This
many
last
fun-
one, 8:55, a funny story about being pulled over by a park ranger. And so he got out of the car.
Park ranger.
Put hands in the air. And the park ranger got on the radio and said, "Get back in your car." Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Doing all the things.
we
Well,
love
now
to
you
be
know
at fault.
what not to do next
Yeah.
time. If
Stay in
if
your
you
car,
don't-
everybody. Stay in your car. Yeah. Mhm.
That's funny.
Before we're done, let's hear from each of you. What's a message you want to leave everybody tonight? Echo, where are you at? What do you
Well,
what do you want to leave?
with mental health awareness, let's just focus on that first. If you need help,
Yes.
first of all, everybody here in the webinar, kudos for you for coming, showing up, sharing your story, sharing your questions, being here, hopefully learning some stuff, but knowing that help is available, whether it's OCD, whether it's for an OCD, or whether it's any other type of therapy. Mental health matters. We and the rest of the mental health community are working hard to break that stigma. Diagnoses do not identify you. You are not your diagnosis. You're able to find the treatment that you need. If you don't like your first therapist, there's always more, right? You're human. Not everybody meshes with the first person they're connected with. And just mental health is real. So please take care of yourselves. Find the treatment that you need and hang in there. Keep working hard. That's what I have to say.
I love that. I say the same thing all the time, but I feel like it's so important that, when I'm in this space and I watch myself and, we're laughing and I'm talking about all these things that used to be so scary to me. I always want people to know that place where you feel like you can't function as a human being, let alone a partner or a mom or a friend or a daughter or anything, you can. And, there is so much hope, and OCD is so treatable and manageable. And, I got exposure response therapy through NOCD, and it saved my life. And I never thought I would be able to, be living the life I am now, but it is so possible. And also I was going to say echo what Echo just said.
Do it. I haven't heard it today. Give it to me.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's mental health. Mental illness is real. Mental health matters. And if anyone ever tries to invalidate that, please know that there are so many people that know how hard and debilitating it can be, and that you're not alone.
Well, thank you both for being here. It's inspiring to see people who are doing this work on the front lines, people with lived experience, people who've dedicated their life to this. And thank all of you also for being here tonight with us. And reminder, if you're looking for help for anything with OCD or related conditions, check us out at NOCD.com. We are here every Wednesday night doing these webinars. We also have our Get to Know OCD podcast that I host, and you could subscribe to the NOCD YouTube channel to get all sorts of information. Thank you, everyone. Be good to yourselves. Don't listen to your OCD because it sucks, and do something else instead. And thank you both